Welcome to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. I'm Berney Flowers, a retired military officer, a retired civil servant, and a published author, and also a former congressional candidate. I believe that our country's best days are still in front of us, but if we want those best days to come, we need to change the direction of the country right now before it's too late. I intend to talk about important topics every week in hopes of helping to improve our country and our way of life. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's get started. Our guest for episode 22 is my friend Alex Fahmy. Alex quickly made a name for himself in the Republican Party as one of the main catalysts behind former congressional candidate Kim Klacik's campaign, helping her to raise nearly $10 million and having the most viewed ad by a congressional candidate in U.S. history. Alex also worked with congressional and gubernatorial candidates in Arizona, Tennessee, Mississippi, Maryland, California, and Pennsylvania. Alex previously worked for the NFL Players Association, the Washington Nationals, Vanderbilt Athletic Department, and Newsmax. He also ran for school board in Montgomery County, Maryland last election, and is now working for Charlie Kirk's Turning Point Action, speaking at universities, door knocking, and organizing events to help local candidates win their elections in South Florida. He will also be launching his own company, Champion Storytime, in the fall of this year. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on, Berney. It's always nice to see you.
Man, it's always a pleasure to see you. You always put me in a good mood, brother.
Likewise. I'm so happy to do this. This is actually my first podcast, Berney, so I'm excited to do this with you.
Dude, I am honored. I am honored. Got some questions for you. People don't want to hear me. They want to hear you. You ready?
All right, bring it on.
You're a young guy. What made a young guy get involved in politics?
Well, that's a good question. Just kind of getting right to it. And this answer might surprise a lot of people. It was actually Anthony Fauci during the COVID pandemic. I'm sitting to myself and I'm wondering, how is everybody just listening to this man? Who is he? Right? I'm like, there's all this going on. There's shutdowns, there's lockdowns, they're pushing the vaccine. And it all came down to Anthony Fauci. So I started to do some research. And I'm working in the sports industry at the time. I don't have any, political background. Didn't talk about politics with my family or my friends. And it kind of went back to the 80s. And this is how I came back to politics to answer your question. I'm doing some research on Dr. Anthony Fauci. And I'm doing some research, and back in the 80s, during the HIV and AIDS outbreak, Anthony Fauci pushed a drug called AZT. I don't know if you remember that, but he pushed a drug called AZT. Now, AZT, if you remember, Berney, was designed to be the final stage chemo drug. Okay. But it was shelved because it was even too toxic for stage 4 cancer victims.
Wow.
So it never rolled out. So during this HIV and AIDS outbreak, what does Dr. Anthony Fauci do? He pushes AZT.
Amazing.
So that to me was like, wow, that was my first impression of him. So this wasn't his first go around. And there was a lot of people that might not know that or might not have heard Anthony Fauci's name prior to 2020.
Right.
So following the patterns of the HIV and AIDS outbreak, what he was pushing out, this AZT, the most poisonous and deadliest drug to take. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, in 2017, Anthony Fauci says, oh, okay, well, the Trump administration might have to deal with a surprise outbreak or a surprise pandemic. What does he do? He puts out this huge narrative that COVID-19 was transmitted from bats to humans. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, there is no way people are going to believe this, that COVID-19 was transmitted from bats to humans. Really? This is what we're going to do? People are going to wake up to this fairly quick. No, that's not the case. I was wrong. He takes it a step further and says, all right, everybody needs to wear a mask. Wear a mask and you'll be able to breathe fresh air. It'll help you breathe and it'll keep you safe. So I'm talking to my friends. I'm like, this guy is telling us all to just walk around with the face over with the mask over our face, and that's gonna help us breathe. Really? I'm like, people are gonna wake up to this. Nobody's gonna cover their face thinking that they're gonna be the
No.
healthiest people alive. So I was wrong. They take it a step further and they push these, vaccines that were untested. And if you knew what were in these vaccines, Berney, people would not be taking them.
Oh yeah.
So the whole entire country shuts down, the entire economy shuts down, and that's where I got very political very fast.
Yeah.
Because how can we not go grocery shopping? How can we not go to church? How can we not go out with our friends and family? But our borders are wide open with millions of people coming into the country. So he shuts down our country, but our borders remain wide open.
Crazy.
So we can't go grocery shopping. We can't go out to eat. If we go out to restaurants and we stand up, we have to put a mask on, because I'm like sitting there like, this is insane. There's no way people believe this. So corporate America, I guess, had this master plan to all meet up and say, hey, look, people are losing their jobs, but we need to keep the economy going. So the government's just going to keep sending out these COVID checks to people so that way that money can go back to the economy and we'll be fine. Now we're going to limit how much they can spend, by one toilet paper roll or by, one box of tissue paper. But get this, when we open up the grocery stores, we're going to put arrows in the aisles.
Now
and
remember that.
like this, yeah. And in the aisle next to it, it's going to go like that. And the next aisle like that.
Sure.
Because COVID can't go backwards, Berney. I don't know if you knew that, right?
Crazy.
COVID can't go backwards. So you have to follow these arrows when you're going grocery shopping. And you go to the cashier, and what do they have there? They have a huge plexiglass. Remember that?
I remember.
They still do. Because COVID can't go over the plexiglass or it can't go around the plexiglass. So,
no, not at all.
Yeah, so I'm sitting there like, all right, the gloves are off now. There is about more than half of this country, more than half of this world is duped by this.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who Anthony Fauci was in the 80s. Fast forward, he's using the same formula for this new pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And he's telling us to wear masks and shields and take all these boosters and stuff like that. So it wasn't adding up to me. And he made it very political very fast because it kind of sounded like only conservatives were against, the COVID vaccine, when really they were just politicizing healthcare. And it didn't make sense to me. So that answer might surprise some people. But yeah, Dr. Anthony Fauci made me a very political person very fast.
I totally understand. And I'm glad that you made that choice. We need young people like you with good minds and good hearts to lead the cause.
Yeah. So
I got another question for you, though. Got another question. You ready?
All right, let's do it.
You made it very, very clear that you support President Trump. We've seen you on television at Mar-a-Lago and on television at his rallies. What are you seeing and hearing amongst the people around your age, specifically when it comes to who they're voting for, and just talk about politics in general?
Yeah, so I'm 28 years old. I lost a lot of friends during President Trump's, administration. Even after, even now, during Joe Biden's administration, just people didn't like me. They were like, how could you vote for Trump, this and that? And those same people are kind of coming back to me and saying, like, I regret voting for Joe Biden, Alex. You were right. Taking a couple of years, Alex, but you know what? You were right. And I'll kind of get right to it. And this is what they're telling me, Berney, is that they're feeling the pain and the impact of Joe Biden's administration every single day. When people are going to work, they're filling up their gas tank, they're paying for their mortgage, they're paying for their bills, they're going grocery shopping. They see the cost of groceries, they see the rent going up, they see just gas. I mean, the pain at the pump is real. And it doesn't matter what race you are, who you voted for. There are a lot of people that are changing their mind about who they voted for last time. But specifically people my age, they're like, hey, guys, Alex, you were right. I hate Joe Biden. I hate his administration. Yeah. He has just so much corruption. I mean, it's just every single day there's another piece of evidence of corruption, not even from him, but from his family and from Obama. So people are seeing just kind of the pain at the pump, really, with the economy. But then to take it a step further, you go to Target, you go to all these stores, and you see just a whole bunch of weird agendas being pushed in your face, and it's being encouraged by Joe Biden, because what does he do? He has a whole bunch of TikTok influencers come to the White House, and these people, by the way, they don't identify by their birth genders, right? They're like these non-binary, pregnant men believing people that'll just come to the White House and say, "Hey, look, I'm with the president." Why? Because they want it to look cool, and it's gone way too far. Just what's going on in the schools. People are seeing it. I have a lot of friends that are just starting their families, and they're just like, "Alex, I'm looking at private schools. I can't even afford it because public schools, all this stuff is going on." But then even more recently, Berney, just the movie Sound of Freedom coming out. And everybody's watching that. And the border should not be a political issue. It shouldn't be a left or right issue. But a lot of first-time voters and people that are my age are watching it, saying we need to protect this country. And Kamala Harris, she's the border czar, and I don't think she's doing such a good job. So
I call her the Cheshire Cat.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing. But then on the fun side of it, you see President Donald Trump going to the boxing and UFC matches, just having a lot of fun. So he's resonating really well this time around. You're seeing a much more sharp and polished President Trump, and it's resonating very well with my age group and demographic.
Good stuff, man. Another question for you. Ready?
Let's do it.
Tell us about Champion Storytime.
Yeah, well, thank you for bringing that up. It's something that I'm currently working on. I'll probably be launching it next month, September, fall 2023. But essentially, I grew up wanting to be a professional athlete, wanting to be a coach, wanting to just work in sports. And so did a lot of my friends, whether it was being a doctor, being a police officer, being a fireman, or being an athlete, or being an attorney. We always strived and kind of fought for something that, we wanted to strive to be great. We wanted to be successful. We wanted to be champions. And right now, I'm just not kind of seeing that hunger or that, strive to greatness with this new generation, with this future generation. I've coached youth sports, and some of these players now want to be TikTok stars instead of, being the next Ray Lewis or somebody, that plays local sports that they can look up to. So there's a lot of story times going around right now in the country that I just don't agree with. I think we need to kind of surround the future generation with, really good role models, athletes, doctors, firemen, police officers, nurses, and just champions in general. So these kids can say that, one day I can be the next Michael Jordan. One day I can be the next Patrick Mahomes, or one day I can be the next, Barbara Corcoran, or the next Mark Cuban, or something like that. So I just want to bring champions, and just simply have them read a children's book to children, and just let them know, like, hey, look, one day you can be me, and just surround themselves with greatness. Because when you kind of surround yourself with role models and you start to look up to people that are very successful, success leaves clues, and it's something that I think will be a great guide to the future generation if they just have the appropriate role models around them to be, successful.
I love it. Alex, you are totally impressive. It's time for me to be quiet and let you talk to the people. Whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I first off want to say that the election is a little bit over a year away. I say this wholeheartedly, and I say this just please help your local candidates get elected into office. Local politics is so important. When I ran for school board, there were so many families and so many people that just had no idea about anything school board related, or anything about the county executives or the county council or anything like that. Please get involved, donate to the candidates, because local elections are so important. Yeah, the presidential elections, they're always on TV and things like that, but the school board, please get involved. It's nice to kind of have your once a month outing for your club meetings or things like that, but please go out and door knock, get engaged with your community. Facebook and social media will never win elections, okay? You have to go out and talk to people. Do not be scared, right? We already saw how the last 3 years have gone. With the Joe Biden administration, there's a lot of angry people out there. We can't just use that anger and post about it on Facebook. We have to go door knock, and we can't assume that everybody knows as much as we do. I will say, though, a lot of people are waking up, Berney.
Oh, yeah.
This is very encouraging, but help your local candidates. If not, run for office, okay? I know a lot of people that have felt, oh, I'm too scared to. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I might lose my job. I think this is going to be the most important election really in our lifetime. There's a great agenda being put out by the left and really by the globalists, where it's kind of shifting from Democrats and Republicans to globalists and really we the people. So we have to step up. I do firmly believe that Donald Trump is the only person resisting the Great Reset. We have to be around a lot of those America First candidates that are going to put our values first, but also our families first. We cannot have the government control our bodies, our families, our values, our education system, because we've given them a small trial run and they have just really sank this country. And it's really sad, and it's really sad to see that what was once a beautiful country with great history, now the history is being erased. Yeah. And we can do as much as we want and talk about the presidential elections, but get involved, challenge your local candidates, ask them the tough questions. And I'm talking specifically about the school board, the congressional races, because local elections matter. And right now they need your help more than ever. So if you can't door knock, make some phone calls, download the Turning Point Action app. It'll make your life so much easier. It'll tell you who exactly to go to who are already registered Republicans. That way you can just go to their door, kind of create that relationship with them, build that name recognition, and just make sure that they have your vote. So we take it a step, we make it easier for you, just for you to go directly to a voter who's going to vote for you. They just need to know who you are. So get involved. Every day counts, because right now our backs are against the wall and we just really need to win this election and save our country.
Man, you are a smart guy for being so doggone young. It's amazing to me. That's why I like hanging out with you, brother.
Hey, man, me and you both.
Amen. So how can people reach you if they need to?
Yeah, well, I'm on Twitter, Real Alex Fahmy. I have to be a little bit active on there, but you can find me on Facebook, Alex Fahmy. Just send me a friend request. Instagram, Alex Fahmy _. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm a lot more outspoken on Instagram, so we'll have a lot of fun there. But yeah, hit me up on social media, and yeah.
Amen. Amen. Well, brother, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for enlightening me, and thank you. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Berney.
Well, that's about it for now. This has been the Loyal Opposition Podcast, produced in association with Liberty Arise Media, Fallback Productions, and other podcasters. I ask that you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast and to these channels. Be sure to get your copy of my new book, Black Values Matter. It's available on Amazon or as an ebook on Audible or on Apple Books. And it's okay to disagree, but if you want our country to prosper, we must insist on unity, transparency, and civility from ourselves and our fellow citizens. Thanks for listening to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. Hope to see you next week.